I'm in Zimbabwe for the Strategic Agricultural Conference in Africa, which it's hosted with the theme large-scale agriculture in Africa, with particular emphasis on looking at the success story of the Zimbabwean large-scale farming model.
I discovered Zimbabwe is like a driving force for women in agriculture, and it's something I haven't seen in other African countries.
I think the Zimbabwean government has gone in the right way in terms of encouraging and supporting youth to come into agricultural production.
There is no doubt in the fact that from what we've seen here, or I've seen, Zimbabwe has done a lot, huge lot in the area of agricultural research, particularly with the influence of the Chinhoyi University of Technology.
My takeaway is the successes recorded by Zimbabwe in terms of agricultural development, transiting from the colonial period up till the period where land policy was implemented that gave opportunity for Zimbabweans to actually utilize their God-owned resources, which is the land.
And the one passion I find in Zimbabwe is the self-employment by the youth. A lady of 23 or 4 years is involved in large-scale mining, large-scale farming. A young girl controlling about 800 hectares of farm, fully mechanized.
Based on what we've seen on ground, they have actually improved a lot and tremendously in terms of large-scale commercial agriculture.
We're here primarily to share experiences and particularly learn from the Zimbabwean success. We've seen the Zimbabwean countryside, we've seen the large-scale farming, which is an offshoot of their land reforms agenda, which has partitioned and apportioned lands to Zimbabwean young men and particularly women who have ventured into large-scale farming.
My name is Engineer Ibrahim Muhammad Panti, Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development in Niger State in Nigeria. We come here down to come and have a participation in agricultural strategies and large scale as a model for Africa.
I am Dr. Idris Usman Gogan, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agric, Niger State, Nigeria. We are here in Zimbabwe for a strategic agricultural summit conference in Zimbabwe to understudy agricultural activities in Zimbabwe with the view to seeing how we can replicate same in my country, Nigeria.
My name is Al Hassan Umar. I'm from Niger State, Nigeria, and I'm the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics from the Niger State Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Niger State, Nigeria. Nigeria is in the north central. Niger State is in the north central part of Nigeria. We are in Zimbabwe to attend the Strategic Agricultural Conference as participants from Nigeria. Well, I've learned a lot. Been here for the past almost 1 week. Mainly, my takeaway is the successes recorded by Zimbabwe in terms of agricultural development.
We have gathered here to share experiences and best practices in agriculture, as these are the gateway to ensuring food and nutritional security in our countries and indeed in Africa.
This type of conference, which I believe is of its first kind in Africa to the best of my knowledge, and having seen what we have got here today, I will bargain for more and more of this conference in different type of nations.
And I tell you that it's been a huge success. My challenge is that this should just be the beginning, as we forward to change the narrative. More states within Nigeria and countries within the sub-region should crossbreed to see how we can exchange ideas and be better. Just for one of our take-home point, I've actually discovered that the solution to Africa's food security problem lies within Africa, and we must begin to build bridges of intercourse among our sister nations to see where we can create the enabling market for our huge capacity productions within here. So African nations to reach out to each other to create corridors for market and interchange of their produce. Secondly, it is heartwarming to discover that most of the technology that we need to transform or revolutionize our agriculture is resident within Africa. From what we were able to see from the Chinoi University of Technology. And so if we look at such areas of advantage, I think we are set to feed the world the next generation of agriculturists that would come up on board.
Because we Africans today, we're supposed to be out to solve our own solutions. The solutions we can solve, and then we can only get such knowledge through this type of conferences.
Honestly speaking, before coming to Zimbabwe, we've had series of news and views about Zimbabwe, especially with respect to the agricultural farming activity. But honestly, when we came here, we were overwhelmed. It's a small country of less than a 16 million population, though they have a lot of land mass, which is very fertile, and are actually putting it into use. Just day for yesterday, we were in the Chinoi University of Technology, the agricultural department, and of course what we saw there was completely different from what we have in my home country, Nigeria. We saw a lot of practical agriculture, where students are not taking not in theory, but also exposed to practical. The idea is when they graduate, they don't necessarily have to wait to get a white-collar job. They are graduating their students to ensure that they participated actively and become an employer of labor in their field.
Let me at this point in time say that there is no doubt in the fact that from what we've seen here, or I've seen, Zimbabwe has done a lot, huge lot in the area of agricultural research, particularly with the influence of the Chinoi University of Technology, which has gone deeply into dairy research, has gone remarkably done a lot in the areas of crossbreeding, artificial insemination, and advanced agro-scientific improvement. So it is my own belief also that as we meet, and we'll be meeting the last few days, there will be a lot of take-home. Primarily has been the mechanization and large-scale, farming technology, which the Zimbabweans are doing with improved seedling. Two, there is huge government incentive through a deliberate program to supply seedlings and mechanized inputs and livestock to particular small farm holders, depending on the sizes of land ownership. That has been a huge encouragement which Nigeria's government would learn a lot from. Then there is the area of food storage and preservation, because Zimbabwe has showcased one of the biggest food reserve silos I've ever seen. I think they're just second to Egypt, about the biggest in Africa. And the process has been that every household or family should produce enough to, one, sustain the family for a daily feed, and two, enough to sell and have a return on investment per dollar yield, and three, for the country to have enough to reserve in the strategic grain reserve for a rainy day.
My findings in Chinoi University of Technology is beyond having theory. I was made to believe that any student that graduated from Chinoi University of Technology in agriculture department will be self-employed. Why? Because we were shown where a small scale milk is taking place, practically where the large scale will be taking place. And beside that, they are not in the classroom per se. They are practical agriculturists. That goes with technology, innovation, education, and experience at the same time. These are the experience they started acquiring in the school, while in the other nations, the experience is being acquired in the offices.
This is actually a story of two crazy women, you know. And so when we met and I got to know she was a farmer, and I was wondering, how can you, a funky you, be a farmer? She was too, I felt she was too sassy or too classy to be a farmer. And so somehow she returned back to Zimbabwe and said, I'm going to surprise you with my farm produce. And she kept sending me pictures. That got me, you know, wowed.
Hosting the Nigerians was such an experience. I was very excited about it. Yeah. I didn't expect that I would see such dignitaries, people from offices, states, commissioners who came and graced this occasion. This was a dream which came true, and it was finally birthed. And here's our new baby, you know, creating synergies and networks between West Africans and South Africans. So for me, this initiative and them coming to see what Zimbabwe is doing, appreciating how Zimbabweans are farming, especially women spearheading, inspiring, mentoring other farmers, meeting youth farmers who are men as well, was just an exciting experience. And for me, it's also a learning curve that, you know what, we have so many people who love farming, people who are looking after themselves. The NDS one, which is the National Development Strategy one, which our president has talked about, is going to be attained at this point. If we see what we're doing, nobody is going to be left, no place will be left out, because we are building our own nation brick by brick, especially with the agriculture pillar, with the COVID situation that we also had. I realized that, you know what, food is an essential in everything that we do, may it be mining, manufacturing, motor industry, whatever, they need their food. In the health sector, education, they need their food. So we are the main pillars in any economy, and Africa is going to lead this. That's my belief. And if you put a woman ahead, you empower Africa.
Aside just the women thing, I realized that there's been equal opportunities for both genders to practice agriculture as a passion here in Zimbabwe. Because while at the Chinhoyi University of Technology, we've seen women doing the things that we expected or was assumed to be reserved for men. And so that gives like an inspiration to others who want to do, okay, if we are empowered equally and everything can be done this way, it means I can also aspire to become a farmer, and then I'll succeed as well.
I met a young lady in the farm, I think 22 years old, managed a farm of 688 hectares. And I asked, how do you manage to pull a farm of 688 hectares? Said from 16 years of age that she started farming alongside with her parents.
Yeah, I discovered Zimbabwe is like a driving force for women in agriculture. And it's something I haven't seen in other African countries. And I feel if Zimbabwe can do it, then other African countries can also do it. They can learn from Zimbabwe how it is being done, how women are driving agriculture in Zimbabwe.
3 things I learned. Number 1, the government of Zimbabwe empower their youth, both men and women, to agriculture. The incentives that the government giving to farmers encourage farmers to work hard. Also understand that Zimbabwe government to showcase foreign currency is not helping the nation currency. Then the youth, the women and the government do everything humanly possible to see that there's no insecurity. Since I came into Zimbabwe, I don't notice any insecurity, so the country is peaceful.
I think that if Africa, we work as one, we'll be a very big force to be reckoned with.
I am looking at the Africa that the Western world will come to learn from.
If anything, we'll have other outsiders coming to Africa.
Because right now, Africa is the major thing that runs the world.
Firstly, I want to appreciate and thank the organizers of this conference, that is Cherry Africa and Soma Hills, who have jointly come together and bring this to reality. I sincerely want to thank the Chinoy state government. The governor was just throughout. She's an active woman and a young lady. She appreciated the fact that there is need for us to synergize and, of course, bring Africa and African continent out of this quagmire with respect to food. I also still want to thank the Zimbabwean government. Yesterday, the Minister for Agriculture was just throughout, and of course, he has revealed to us the intention to revolutionize the complete agriculture sector so that the whole African continent can benefit from it. I think by and large, the farmers have been very cooperative. They have been with us throughout. We want to appreciate them, what they are doing with passion. And of course, we also want to appreciate Niger State government for deeming it fit to sponsor this trip. I know how the resource has been very limited, but despite that, our Excellency Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Sani Bello felt, because of his passion for agriculture, well, Commissioner Pamsek and the Director should go and understand the agricultural revolution in Zimbabwe with a view to seeing how we can replicate them in my country. I think by and large it's a commendable trip. We're applying a lot, and of course I do hope that the end result, we should be able to come out victorious with respect to agriculture in my country. Thank you so much.
One thing that deserves a huge intervention now is for this generation of Zimbabwean agriculturists, because we've seen young men and ladies in their 20s owning hundreds of hectares of farmland and cultivating same. But what needs to be done is to stimulate the entire value chain, in such a way that this farm produce are not just farmed and cultivated, but there is a need to process such, add value to it, and export. And talking about export brings one to the question of image, how the rest of the world looks at Zimbabwe. But Zimbabwe has to look inward. I see that the market for Zimbabwean products, the sympathy for Zimbabwe, the understanding, and that Africa speaks a common legal, franca, which is sustainable agriculture. We makes it easy for the Zimbabwe to create a market within the African sub-region. What we hear on the news, what impression we've thought about Zimbabwe, and what we've come to see here are incidentally two different things. Zimbabweans have been very hardworking, hospitable, and enduring, people who are looking towards feeding Africa and indeed the rest of the world in the next generation. And what we desire to do as a continent is to collaborate and give support to our sister nations where it is absolutely necessary that we do so for the total sustenance of Africa as one. Because once there is intervention in one sector or in one country, it invariably means that Africa is doing justice to its own self.
In terms of production, the farmers are well equipped with modern technology to produce. They're actually producing in large scale. But one thing that I found lacking with them has to do with value addition. You see, agri now is we're now thinking towards complete value chain, where farmers are now encouraged not just to production but to add value. That's the only way farmers can actually get the full dividends of what they are doing. That's why we have competitive advantage over Zimbabwe with respect to value addition in my country. I think it's a real partnership where we also can open our doors for Zimbabwean farmers to come into our country and study the various process activities we have. We are saying that the government should tailor our intention now and, of course, focus on encouraging farmers to develop cottage industries within their fields. So that the farmers should begin to now package Zimbabwean maize flour, Zimbabwean soybean flour, and all that. We should begin to see those value addition in their supermarkets. We should begin to see those value addition being exported outside this country, beyond the shore of Zimbabwean government. So we're saying that the Zimbabwean farmers, yes, they are okay, but then there is need for them to go a little bit further by adding value to what they are doing with respect to production.
I first of all thank the Zimbabwe government to have given this opportunity to participate in this first kind of its conference. I much appreciate the young farmers I've seen, the decade farmers I see, and I've seen the history of the farming in Zimbabwe. Despite we are not out of farming, but our gathering today in Zimbabwe is a plus to our nation. The only advice I can give to Zimbabwe is that I have seen this government, they have now opened the door, their own doors for national interactions. They should do that. And more exposures is required. I know African nations suffered colonialism. We should disengage this type of colonialist mentality. We should solve our problems, which Zimbabwe have started solving their problems as far as food is concerned. Zimbabwe is the kudos to them, and I hope Nigeria will have relationship with Zimbabwe. We thank this government to bring in the sanity to its people, awareness to its people. Now, the image other African nations have in Zimbabwe, to me today, is no more there. The Zimbabwe government seems to be open to interaction, synergies, and investment. And the way we go back to Nigeria, we'll let the government know Zimbabwe is open for partnership in any aspect of business.
Image is everything, and I think Zimbabweans have been able to showcase themselves, have been able to produce something different from what we've heard about them from the outside. You know, coming, you have different impressions, but coming here, we've seen that the Zimbabweans have themselves made a success story out of the land reforms programs. There are huge farms across the land, and these are owned by indigenous Zimbabweans who have shown that they have the capacity to take care of their own, destiny and their own responsibility for themselves. They are doing extremely well, and I think the rest of Africa needs to support Zimbabwe, to feed Africa.
I just want to thank everybody and the government of Zimbabwe for allowing us to do this. The government of Nigeria, which also allowed its commissioners to come to this initiative, which they had never heard about, but they came. And I want to thank Cherry Africa, Carol here, who actually said, Noma, let's do this. And we really worked very hard, and this has come to fruition, and glory be to God, and thank you to everyone.
As Cherry Africa, I want to thank God especially because it was almost like a mission impossible. But sharing a dream with a sister, and she told me we can do it. And we went for it. I thank God for the support we had from the Zimbabwean government. Especially, I'll put on record the office of Honorable Mary, the minister. Honorable Mary Mlijwa Chikoka, she has been a strong support. I also want to extend thanks to the Nigerian ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Ambassador Zachariah Ifu. He's done marvelously well. We've had his backup, we had his support to see this through. And I special thanks to the governor of Niger State. He received me personally, and he gave me his words that he was going to send his men. They may not be up to 10, but he was definitely going to send his men down. And they made this happen. They came through, and then other states followed. Because that belief, they believed, the governor believed, and the Niger State team believed in this dream. Large-scale agriculture as a model for Africa. They really wanted for it to happen. And I am glad that it all ended in praise. Thank you to the government of Zimbabwe, and thank you to the government of Nigeria for this synergy.